Aaron Haverson never expected a single glance through his kitchen window to change everything he thought he knew about his daughter. That morning began like any other, coffee steaming in his hand, the quiet hum of a house run by a single dad doing his best. But at 8:30 a.m., when his daughter Laurie should have been sitting inside her third-grade classroom, she was instead in the backyard, supporting a boy Aaron had never seen before. The boy's left leg dragged behind him in a stiff, painful arc. His left arm hung useless at his side. And there was Laurie, tiny, determined Laurie, holding him upright, guiding him toward the old oak tree that towered over their yard like a watchful guardian. Aaron froze. The coffee slipped from his fingers and splashed onto the sink. For 3 months he had noticed strange things. Laurie waking up unusually early, slipping outside while he showered, coming home with dirt under her fingernails, with scraped knees, with an exhaustion no 8-year-old should carry. She had ropes hidden in her closet, sticks stacked like firewood. Her jeans were mysteriously wearing out in places kids don't usually tear. He had chalked it up to childhood imagination, but the truth was standing in his backyard, leaning on his daughter for every fragile step. The boy stumbled. Laurie caught him, her small arms straining. They stood still for a moment, two children united by something Aaron couldn't yet understand. Then they turned to the tree again. Aaron stepped out onto the porch silently, watching from the shadows. At the base of the oak, Laurie crouched and examined the boy's legs like a miniature doctor. She pointed up to a branch 6 feet off the ground, then to another higher up. The boy looked at the branches with a longing so raw it punched the air from Aaron's lungs. Then Laurie interlocked her fingers and held them out like a step. The boy shook his head. Laurie stomped her foot, expression fierce. Slowly, fearfully, the boy placed his good foot in her hands. She lifted with every muscle in her body as he reached for the lowest branch with his working hand. They climbed like they had practiced this for months. And they had. Aaron realized it instantly. This was routine, secret routine. When they finally reached a thick branch 15 feet above the ground, the boy smiled. Not a polite smile, not a shy smile, but a smile that transformed him, a smile of pure freedom. He laughed, a sound so joyful it carried through the yard like music. And Laurie sat beside him, legs dangling, as if she had just helped him conquer a mountain. Aaron stepped back into the kitchen with shaking hands. Now he had to confront the truth. And that evening he finally did. When Laurie sat at the table doing homework, tracing numbers that didn't hold her attention, Aaron said gently, "I watched you this morning." The pencil stilled. Her shoulders tensed. But when Aaron said, "Tell me about the boy," Laurie relaxed, relieved he wasn't angry. His name was Andy. He lived 2 houses down. He had polio. His left leg and arm barely worked. Kids at recess played tag and climbed monkey bars while Andy sat on the bench watching. "One day," Laurie whispered, "I asked him what he wanted more than anything. He wanted to climb a tree. Just once. To see the world from up high. I promised I'd get him there," she said. "I promised I'd help him every day until he could." Aaron felt his heart lurch. His daughter, the girl he thought he knew entirely, had been waking up early every morning for months because she made a promise to a boy the world said couldn't climb. And she kept it. "I want to help too," Aaron said softly. And he did. What happened in the following weeks changed everything. Each morning, Aaron watched the systems the children had built, the trust, the signals, the careful rhythm of their movements. He saw how Laurie supported Andy just enough to empower him, not enough to take away his independence. He saw how she calmed him when fear overtook him, how she freed his twisted leg when it snagged on bark, how she encouraged him when frustration tightened his throat. Aaron realized his daughter was teaching him something profound, what it meant to truly show up for someone. But danger, too, was always present. One slip could break bones. One mistake could ruin months of progress. So Aaron built safety into their magic. He spent evenings constructing a small wooden platform at the first branch, rope handles, a disguised support pulley, custom grips for Andy's functioning hand. And it worked. Andy climbed faster, safer, and with more confidence. Each morning, his joy spread through the neighborhood like sunlight. Soon, neighbors began appearing. A gruff carpenter built a curved seat. A teacher brought books about birds and trees. Teens installed a shelf and a protective ladder. Someone even donated binoculars. The tree became a community. Not just branches, but hope itself. Then one frost-covered morning in October, Andy's mother pulled Aaron aside. Her voice trembled. "He's getting weaker. The disease is progressing." Aaron felt the world tilt. "How long?" "Maybe a year," she said, "maybe less." His heart cracked wide open. He looked at the tree, at the rope handles, at the bench, then at his daughter, who knew nothing of the countdown now ticking beneath their routine. He didn't tell her, not yet. He wanted her joy to be whole as long as possible. But time was no longer on their side. Winter arrived brutally, ice, frost, freezing winds. People warned them to stop climbing. They didn't. Aaron adapted the tree again. Heated ropes, ice-proof grips, reinforced branches, insulated gloves. And Andy kept climbing. Even when his good leg trembled. Even when his mother had to carry him to the yard. Because when he reached that branch, his branch, something miraculous happened. Pain left his face. Fear left his eyes. Joy returned. On the solstice, after a painfully slow climb, Andy reached the branch just as the sun rose. The golden light hit his face and he whispered, "I can feel everything." Aaron turned away, tears burning hot. But time was running out faster than anyone predicted. By spring, Andy couldn't walk at all. The climb stopped. His wheelchair became permanent. And Laurie refused to accept it. One day, she marched into Aaron's workshop with pages of sketches. She had spent months studying engineering videos online. She had designed a system, part lift, part safety harness, that would allow Andy to climb using only his arms while still feeling independent. Aaron stared at the sketches, stunned. "This is brilliant," he whispered. "It has to be," she said. "He's running out of time." They began building immediately. Neighbors joined again. The entire community turned into one giant workshop. But time moved faster than their tools. Andy collapsed with pneumonia. His mother told Aaron through tears, "He wants to see the tree one more time." And the lift wasn't finished. So they worked through the night, non-stop, finishing the final bolts and supports by flashlight and determination. And at dawn, they were ready. Andy arrived frail but smiling. The lift cradled him carefully. He pulled himself upward with trembling arms while the system supported his weight. Slowly, painfully, beautifully, he rose. After an hour, he reached his bench. He settled there, the tree holding him, the sunlight warming him, Laurie beside him holding his hand. And then Andy spoke. "Before I met you," he said to Laurie, "I thought my life was about all the things I couldn't do." His mother sobbed into her hands. "But you showed me that my life is about what we can do together. You gave me mornings where I wasn't sick, where I felt free." Laurie squeezed his hand. "You do impossible things," she whispered. "You always have." They sat for 2 hours, soaking in the moment. When they descended, Andy looked around at everyone who had helped build his world and whispered, thank you for my tree." 3 weeks later, he died peacefully in his sleep. At the funeral, Laurie placed a photo of them in the casket, 2 children sitting in a tree, legs swinging toward the sky. She whispered goodbye with trembling hands. The oak tree at their home stood silent that summer, empty, waiting. Until one day, Andy's mother brought Laurie a wooden box. Inside were drawings, hundreds of trees Andy had sketched, and a letter. He asked her to plant a tree for someone else, for another kid who needed a place to feel free. And she did. In the school park, a young oak with a yellow ribbon tied to its lowest branch. A plaque beneath it read, "Andy's tree, everyone can climb." Years passed. Lori grew up studying occupational therapy. She visited the tree often. Sometimes she found children climbing its branches, laughing, never knowing the story behind the leaves. Until one morning, Aaron looked out the window and saw a teenage girl helping a boy on crutches toward Andy's tree. "Look," he said softly, "you did that." "No," Lori whispered, smiling. "Andy did." "Want to go help them?" Aaron asked. "Yeah," she said, "just like old times." Father and daughter walked toward the park, toward a tree that had grown from one boy's dream, toward proof that love outlives loss, and that sometimes helping someone climb their impossible tree can change the world. One branch at a time,